As one of the most popular sitcoms to date, Friends has become a household name in TV history. But did you know it had a spin-off that sadly got canceled? Here's why Joey, a Friends spin-off starring Matt LeBlanc, was axed. Joey was under a lot of strain even before the first episode because it followed the Friends season finale. Fall 2004 saw the premiere of Matt LeBlanc's new program.
Oh, really?
I read that in the paper. I was like,
You're like, this is a bummer
it
for
was
me.
like a big thing. No, we want it back. I was like, oh, great.
The show's run of 2 seasons and 46 episodes was already over by the summer of 2006. But despite the show being wrapped up earlier than planned, Matt LeBlanc was pretty proud of his work. "I thought it was a good show, I really did," the actor revealed later on in an interview. "Was it Friends? No, it wasn't. Nothing would have been. But I was proud of it since there were large shoes to fill." LeBlanc acknowledged that the pressure was huge and that he couldn't lift the weight that 6 people were lifting, referring to the other cast members of Friends. But you know what? A lot of viewers actually thought that the show was good. However, it would have undoubtedly lasted and succeeded if it had ratings like those today. In the end, the show's popularity and tone were major factors in its unexpected cancellation before many viewers were prepared to say goodbye. The tone of Friends was distinctive enough to pull viewers in on a weekly basis. So we are trying to do that to Joey as well? Of course they were. It was a hit. Kevin S. Bright, the show's executive producer and director, regrettably acknowledged that it failed to recreate that same charm. But other than that, Joey's story and direction differed from what viewers were accustomed to, which is probably one of the reasons it failed in the first place. Bright claims that the spin-off attempted to make Joey mature and prevented Matt LeBlanc from leading such a carefree lifestyle. That was a grave mistake, turning Joey into someone that's the complete opposite of who he was in Friends. So yeah, big mistake. In Bright's opinion, Joey should have remained a child for the rest of his life.
The producers disagree. This was one where the networks won. And they liked Jonathan Silverman better, and so we hired Jonathan Silverman, but Marta and David...
Until he met the right woman who would be prepared to care for this man-child and accept him for who he was. Additionally, Bright believed that Joey's transition into a man who was unable to secure a date and who has no friends caused the audience to leave. For the Friends audience in particular, it was hard to watch Joey transform into a weak character when he was not among his friends. Even though that was a factor, the show's ratings were the cherry on top.
No. It's a scary world out there.
Still, if we were to look back at those same numbers today, it would have thrived in the current TV streaming generation and would have been among the top series right now. Even the executive director admitted it. He bet Joey would place in the top 10 if the show were to air right now, with the ratings at the time that it was canceled. He yet maintains his stance that, had he been able to do the show over, he would have done it quite differently.
Really huge, but the way things are now with like social media and streaming and your ability to binge watch something, that was back before.
LeBlanc, at the very least, has no regrets about the program or its abrupt cancellation. But how was his character written? That one, Matt LeBlanc was pretty pissed about. They wrote a guy who became very doubtful of himself in this new place in Hollywood. No friends, can't meet girls, and that's not who Joey was, the actor explained. He was always the consummate optimist. Always. And that's not who they wrote. That was very frustrating for me. The majority of fans agree that the show could have thrived and developed into another big hit if it had taken a different turn.
Well, the fridge broke, so I had to eat everything. Cold cuts, ice cream, limes.
Making changes to Joey's character turned out to be a costly error that finally alienated the audience. So what else is there to know about Joey and his actor Matt LeBlanc? Well, there's also the fact that the actor was boxed into the character, that it became difficult for him at one point to detach himself from it. The actor shared his feelings about playing his character Joey while promoting the television show Episodes, in which Matt LeBlanc plays an actor named Matt LeBlanc with designer chest double and a huge penis. Yep, you You heard that right. We all know how poorly the spin-off Joey did, so LeBlanc took 4 years off before making a comeback in episodes as a guy named Matt LeBlanc who had previously played Joey on Friends, so basically the actor is playing himself, but of course with a few significant adjustments, especially with how he is. But yes, this version of Matt LeBlanc in episodes is pretty confusing. LeBlanc acknowledged that he had a lot of reservations about the idea of portraying himself and was uneasy about it since he didn't see what they were trying to say. He ultimately consented though, just so long as it wasn't him and he could play the character without any more attribution. Of course, he didn't want to play the real Matt LeBlanc, but more like the public's perception of him. He did request the removal of 1 or 2 plot lines, but he won't reveal which ones since they were both too similar to his real life and he was worried that viewers would believe them to be true when they weren't. And you know what? Matt LeBlanc said he was not afraid to be seen as a prick because he is one. That much he said in his interview with The Guardian.
And I realized what she's listened to, and she looks over at me and sees me, freaks out, takes her foot off the brake and slams it. And I can't.
LeBlanc acknowledges that his role as Joey Tribbiani on Friends, which reportedly paid him a whopping $15 million per season, is the reason he is wealthy enough to never have to work again. "I made a fucking shitload of money," he told The Guardian, so call it a failure all you want. However, many still think that his show Joey was a failure. And yes, there is a problem with the way his role was written, but if there is one thing the actor would change, it is how he would have been more assertive with his character. LeBlanc claimed that if given the choice, he would have put his foot down and avoided working with David Crane at all costs. And yes, David Crane was the one behind making Joey a different person in the spin-off. So blame the guy. So why did they cast Matt LeBlanc to portray someone similar to himself in the series episodes?
And that's why we celebrate Hanukkah today. The end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when Superman flew all the Jews out of Egypt.
Although LeBlanc's character is apparently imaginary, he wasn't overly concerned if the jokes weren't hilarious or if the program didn't succeed because it is the comic premise of episodes. Because nobody's going to see the show, LeBlanc cheerfully said it himself. Unexpectedly, LeBlanc received a Golden Globe nomination for the first season, and the rest of the ensemble turns in incredibly amusing performances. Yet, LeBlanc claims that some of his caricatures of LA's TV industry may not be all that far off the reality. As of now, the actor spends much of his time in different locations. He doesn't spend too much time in LA, especially with the growing number of weirdos out there. Also, the weirdo count may help to explain why LeBlanc now spends at least half of his time caring for his daughter on his cow ranch in rural California. Oh yeah, he spends a portion of his time in London too, although all actors are required to profess they adore London when interviewed here. He claims that's because the locals don't mind quite excessive profanity. With that, this has been why Joey, a Friends spin-off starring Matt LeBlanc, was axed.